Hello everyone, hope and pray that you're doing well. There's a little story in the early 1920s, communist leader Nikolai Bukharin was asked to address this anti-God rally. And in his speech he mocked, he dismantled the Christian faith. It seemed like he left the faith in ruins. And then questions were invited, and an Orthodox church priest got up and asked if he could speak. And when he got up, he turned and he faced the crowd and he simply said, "Christ is risen." And instantly the assembly gathered and stood on their feet, and in reply, they said, "He is risen indeed." In the Gospel of John, Mary recognizes the risen Jesus. And then she exclaims, "Rabbi," and she reaches for Jesus. Now, the thing that happens next, I think, is quite surprising. You might expect kind of a big teary embrace, or something like Jesus saying, "All right, it's time to gather up the boys, we're heading back to Galilee." But that's not what happens. What happens is that Jesus prevents Mary from grabbing onto him, and he tells her, "Don't cling to me. Don't cling to me." Why would Jesus say that? I think it's because that's what Easter says. Easter says, whatever it is that you are thinking about Jesus, don't cling to all those things. Don't cling to a dead Jesus. He's not your old rabbi. He's not your ticket to heaven simply, or he's not your work ethic, or merely a hope for a better tomorrow. He's not just your politics, or your views on social justice, or even your hopes for your family. I mean, those are all expectations, and we have a lot of them for Jesus. And like all expectations, they will eventually lead you to a tomb. But Jesus never stays in a tomb. According to John chapter 20, after the Sabbath, on the first day of the week, a new world came into being. Now, notice it's not the third day that John talks about here. John describes it as the first day, because something really new has happened. This is the first day of the new world order. Now, John's gospel all along has been kind of retelling the creation story, and it has in it echoes of Genesis 1, the first creation story, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then on that first day of the week, John makes it very clear that Jesus will not stay in the tomb, because Jesus is the resurrection and the life. Jesus cannot be managed. You cannot hold on to Jesus. You can only watch the surprising way that he grabs a hold of you. There's so much more to this Jesus than we know. And isn't that really all the hope that we can handle from the gospel? Right? I mean, who would have thought in some ways that it was the gardener all along? Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. And there's no telling where or how he's going to appear again in his death-defying ministry of new life. All we know is that there is more than we know. The peace of Christ be with you all.